Alright, so those of you who watch the videos and keep up with the channel will know I absolutely hate 2K25. I barely play it. I've been mainly playing 2K24 this year because I just think 2K25 is absolutely terrible. I hate pretty much everything about the game, and I just do not have any fun playing it whatsoever. But what I decided to do over the past week or so, since I've been home sick with the flu, is I've decided to actually try to give this game another chance since I haven't played it since launch, and I've been playing for like 2 hours a day, nothing crazy, but what I decided to do while I played was go through, and every time something stupid happened, I took this piece of paper that I have right here, and I wrote it down, and I made a list of everything I hated about my experience and all the dumb shit that was going on. Alright, so reading off of the list that I have in front of me right here, the top half of this list is just general things that aren't related to gameplay, and then the bottom half is things that are related to gameplay. So I'm going to start with the top half here. So the first thing I noticed when coming back to this game was the daily spin rewards still suck actual cock. This has been a problem for like the past, I don't even know how many 2Ks in a row. But every time I go to this damn daily spin, I get some stupid banner. Just in the 7 days where I was playing this game, I got the elite banner 3 times, bro. 3 out of 7 times when I spun my daily wheel, I got the elite banner. So there is absolutely no reason I should be winning something that stupid at all. And that's ignoring the fact that I got it duplicated 3 times out of 7 days. That is absolutely absurd. So just in general, the rewards on the wheel are absolutely fucking terrible. So another thing I'm going to touch on very, very quickly is skill-based matchmaking. I know a lot of you are expecting me to rip into this and say that it's stupid. And I do think that skill-based matchmaking is stupid. But since the last time I was playing this game early in September, apparently there was some patch at some point that dramatically turned down the skill-based matchmaking to the point where it's like almost not there. You could tell it's there, but it's dramatically toned down from the last time I played in September. And that's a very big W change, although I wish it wasn't in the game at all, but very good change. The game was much more enjoyable in that regard with the skill-based matchmaking being toned down. So I guess let's talk about Park and the city in general, okay? Let's just call this what it is. It's bullshit. I hate the city. It's just a stupid gimmick for 2K to make this big-ass open area to stick advertisements everywhere so that all of these companies, Gatorade, Jordan, Puma, Nike, all can just throw their logos everywhere, and then 2K gets a shitload of money for that. That's the only reason that the city exists. It's terrible, it's laggy, it runs at like 30 FPS, it slows my game down, it's optimized terribly. I hate everything about the city. The city is terrible. A small neighborhood like 2K19 and 2K20 is perfect. We do not need a big-ass city like this, but it's not going anywhere because it makes 2K money. But I figured I would mention that briefly. So I guess now let's move into the parks. I hate playing Park, okay? Just Park in general. I'm not talking about theater or anything else. I'm just talking about, like, playing in the Rise affiliation or playing in the Elite affiliation, okay? I hate the aesthetic of it. I hate the pirate ships and the robots. It's stupid. I think it looks dumb. It's goofy. Realistic parks are so much better. It's all just stupid, okay? So I hate the aesthetic of the parks, but the actual gameplay of playing in the parks is just terrible. We have people running around too scared to hop on the dots. It takes me like 20 minutes to get a game. And I'm not even that high of a rep. I'm like a rookie 5, bro. And people are still like just running around too scared to play games. It's fucking ridiculous. It takes too long to get games. You get like one game every 20 minutes. The parks are laggy as shit from all of the extra nonsense that they have all around there. Just playing in the park in general and the park as a whole is just terrible. I barely played the park, but when I did, it was an absolutely terrible experience. I mainly just stuck to the theater. And one more thing I want to mention about Park is how terribly it's optimized. It runs terribly in general, but the main thing I want to bring up is the one night this week when I was playing Park with a couple of my friends for a few hours, it ran like shit. And half of the time, well, not half the time, but maybe a quarter of the games where I was playing there, my court would freeze, and the only way I would be able to move and get off the game is to dashboard. I don't know what was causing that, so somebody in the comments can probably let me know, but I figured I would mention that as well. And before we get to gameplay, one more random thing I want to bring up is half of the time when I open the menu and try to go to my animations to switch my clothes, dribble moves, jump shots, whatever, half the time when I open that menu, it would just infinitely fucking load and take like 5 minutes, or I would have to dashboard and reload the game just to get into the animations menu or my appearance or whatever. That shit is so annoying. It's giving me flashbacks to 2K17 with the fucking Paul George loading screen, bro. I know some of you will remember that shit. That's what it reminded me of, so I absolutely hated that as well. One more final thing I want to bring up is the fact that you can still dashboard in Proving Grounds to this day. That is the main thing, that is the selling point that is advertised for 2K25 in Proving Grounds. You can still go in there and dashboard and keep your rank on the leaderboard. I don't know how that is still in the game halfway through fucking January, but it is, so I figured I'd mention that as well. And that is everything with the general complaints with the game over with. Now let's get to the gameplay, and I feel like that is the biggest problem with this game by far, and it's where I have the most issues. So I'm going to talk overall first, and then I'm going to get specifically into every single category here. So just overall, the gameplay as a whole, there is so much unnecessary RNG fucking nonsense in this game. Now, for those of you who don't know, RNG stands for Random Number Generator. And when I say RNG nonsense, I'm referring to just random things that happen that are completely out of your control, okay? Now, let me give you a few examples. The one biggest example I can give, and I'm going to get into shooting later, but shooting is the main example of this, where you could time a shot 100% perfectly, literally down to the millisecond you time it perfectly, and the game will just make you miss because you've been making too many shots. That is fucking stupid. Or you'll be perfectly in a passing lane and you will time it on the dot down to the millisecond. You will press X at the right time in a passing lane and it will just make you reach the wrong way, or you won't be able to intercept the ball in the passing lane. Just shit like that that's completely out of your control. There is so much nonsense like that in this game, and that is one of the main reasons why I hate it so much and why I can't get into it, because I can't deal with shit like that. And I would also say, just as an overall thing, the game feels way too clunky. There's too many clunky animations. I feel like this is the issue with going way too far down the realism road when they remove all the dribble moves that are fun. The movement just feels way too clunky and slow and just shitty in general, and you feel like you have no control over your player whatsoever, which, in my opinion, if I can control myself better in real life than I can in a video game, that's not fucking realistic. If I can stop more on a dime in real life than I can playing 2K, then that's not realistic at all, and that's a stupid argument. But just in general, the game feels way too clunky and slow. So I'm going to hop into specifics now, and I'm going to kind of throw dribbling and stamina into one little ball here. So let's start with the dribbling, because I was just talking about how clunky and shitty the dribbling in this game is, and everything I just said applies to that, and I'm going to add on to it. So not only does the game feel clunky and slow and just terrible when you're trying to dribble on a short guard that's supposed to be fast, you feel way too slow. Another issue that I feel is a big problem is the stamina, okay? I feel like I take 2 fucking dribble moves and I am winded and I am out of breath. I'm panting for air. I feel like I have better stamina in real life and I could do more dribble moves. And I'm not supposed to be an NBA player like my player is. It makes no sense. You do 3 dribble moves with a 99 stamina and a 95 ball handle, and you are fucking winded. It's terrible, and I hate the way that that works. And also, just the dribble moves as a whole, the more we go down this realism route that I was just talking about, the less fun the dribbling is going to be. When dribbling was at its peak in 2K, in 2K16, 2K17, 2K19, it was arcadey as shit, and it was fun. The reason dribbling is fun is because it's arcadey. When you try to make it too realistic, it just gets boring as shit, and it's not fun, and it gets way too clunky. So just overall, dribbling and stamina are terrible in this game. So I guess next, let's go into the layups and dunks. And out of all of the recent 2Ks that I would say like 2K16 on is when I've been playing, this is easily the worst year for both layups and dunks, and they make absolutely no sense. So in 25, it really feels like your layup rating means absolutely fucking nothing. Sometimes they will go in, and sometimes they won't go in on real player percentage, and it is essentially completely out of your control. You just have to trust and pray. Whether you have a 20 layup or you have a 99 layup, it feels like there is no difference sometimes in the shit you will make. I have not upgraded my layup on my players still, and I believe I talked about this in my rant video as well. I still make reds on this player with no upgraded layup with real player percentage. It's broken and it's stupid. So the layups are terrible. There's no reason to go high on your layup, and there's no reason to turn on layup timing either, because it's RNG nonsense regardless. And as for dunks, I know that there was very recently a dunk meter patch. I have not played since the dunk meter patch, so I want to make that clear. But dunking from when I played was just absolutely fucking terrible. You get thrown out of animations constantly. It doesn't matter how high your driving dunk is. You can't even see the green meter or the shot meter or the green window at all when you're doing fucking contact dunks. It makes no sense. You get thrown out of the animations constantly. Dunking is absolutely terrible in this game. And just finishing as a whole, because the layups are also terrible and completely RNG. Dunking, finishing, layups, all of it is just complete nonsense in this game, and you're better off just shooting. And speaking of shooting, I think it's a great time to move into the shooting aspect of this game, and this is where I have the most to say by far. So implementing RNG into the shooting, where it forces you to miss wide open shots even if you time it right, is annoying as shit, and it should not be in the game. It is literally just in here to help casuals who can't shoot consistently. That way, no matter how terribly they time it, eventually some of them will go in on low risk. It's stupid and it should not exist. Now, as for rhythm shooting, because I know a lot of you are going to comment, oh, rhythm shooting, if you rhythm shoot, you know, that opens up the skill gap and there's way less RNG. For one, there is still RNG in the shooting, although it's less when you rhythm shoot. And two, rhythm shooting is a stupid ass gimmick introduced because of a stupid problem that the company 2K caused on their own. So they're selling you a solution to a problem that they created. Rhythm shooting is nothing more than a gimmick created because of the stupid RNG in the shooting in this game. So they're saying, look, we know how bad the RNG shooting is, just rhythm shoot, bro. Completely not even acknowledging the fact that they're the reason that the RNG is so fucking bad in the game to begin with. So rhythm shooting should not even exist, and it's a stupid gimmick. Although I have learned it, I hate it, and it should not be in the game, although it does make the shooting better. And I forgot to say this earlier, so I'm just going to throw it in here since I'm already talking about shooting. The meta on this game is fucking terrible, especially on the 2s and 3s court. The meta is just to L2 cheese everyone, just try to get them in a weird animation where we all get stuck, the defender gets stuck trying to run around the person, and just spam midi fades in people's face because midi fades had the least amount of RNG. That is a terrible fucking meta, and it makes this game so boring with skill-based matchmaking because that is how everyone in my fucking lobbies played. It's really annoying, so I figured I would just throw that in here as a side note. Midi fades should not be the meta because if you're one of these people who likes 2K25 based on realism, how are you going to say that you like midi fades being the meta? You can't, because midi fades are practically obsolete in the NBA. The only people I could think of that really do midi fades effectively are DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Durant. That shit is not the meta in the NBA. So if you want realism, why are you okay with that being the meta in 2K if you like a simulation basketball game? On both fronts, it makes no sense. But anyway, trying to stay on topic here, the shooting overall is just not in a good place. There's really no skill gap in the shooting between an average person and someone at the top, assuming that they know how to rhythm shoot. I feel like an average person who can rhythm shoot consistently is not going to miss any more shots than someone like Joe Knows or someone at the top of Black Market or whoever else you want to consider at the top. They're going to make a similar amount of shots if they know how to rhythm shoot consistently. So I feel like there's no real skill gap to shooting if you're average at the game or better. So let's hop into defense now. So defense is a pretty controversial part of 2K25. I really don't like it because of all of the RNG nonsense. Defense started in 2K25 at the beginning of the year when I was still playing. It was ridiculously overpowered. Lane steals were absolutely fucking disgusting. They were way too easy. I agree it needed a nerf, but when 2K nerfs things, they just go way too far in the opposite direction. And passing lanes are a perfect example of this. Passing lanes are practically obsolete in this game now. It doesn't matter how high your steal is. There's so much RNG in the passing lanes, you'll be in them perfectly, and sometimes you won't even get them. So lane steals are now terrible. Perimeter defense in general is just absolutely fucking atrocious. I think it's actually the worst part of this game. It doesn't matter how high your perimeter is or how high your challenger is. You could have your hand right in someone's fucking face and it will say open or it will say weak coverage or whatever. It'll give you a yellow even though you're jumping in someone's face. I've even seen people with high perimeter jumping at people and it will say open. The shot contest system in this game is just absolutely atrocious and defense is in a very bad place. Now, as far as Onball Steals go, I actually can't talk too much about this because I really wasn't going for Onball Steals that much. I generally like to go for lane steals. I'm not like an Onball Steal kind of person. So I'm going to leave that to you guys. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments. It honestly felt okay to me. It didn't feel too strong in any direction that they were broken or needing a buff, whatever. The only thing I will say is more of the RNG nonsense. There were a few times when I plucked people and the ball just rolled away really far, and then it slowed me down from getting to the ball just so the person on offense could get the ball back. So just RNG nonsense like that is a problem with steals, but besides that, it feels like they were in an okay place, at least to me. Now, as far as paint defense goes in this game, you might think based off of what I said about layups and dunks that paint defense in this game is actually really good, but you would be wrong. They just nerf layups and dunks so that it feels like there's actual paint defense, but there really isn't. Sometimes you can play perfect defense on people doing layups and dunks, and they will still just get an absolute nonsense bullshit animation over you. So as far as the paint defense goes, again, I was playing on a guard, I want to clarify that. So I'm going based off of what I see my big men playing on and the shit that they experience. But there was a lot of stupid shit in there that made absolutely no sense, to where the paint defense was just absolutely terrible most of the time. All right, so the next topic I want to get into is passing, and I guess just playmaking in general. So in my opinion, 25 has some of the worst passing mechanics in general, just that we have had in years. So in my opinion, it doesn't really feel like when I go high on my pass accuracy that it makes that much of a difference. And what I mean by this is, on my build, I have an 89 pass accuracy, and I cannot make basic fucking passes sometimes. And this is more of the RNG nonsense I'm referring to, where even with this high of a pass accuracy, I will throw a stupid pass, and my passes are slow as shit just in general, by the way, even with this high of a pass accuracy. But I throw stupid passes and make stupid decisions with the ball, and I can't make very basic passes that require common sense that I could make in real life. My player can't do, that's supposed to be an NBA player with an 89 pass accuracy playing park. I can't make basic passes. Like, it's just stupid, and my player feels way too damn slow throwing the ball for that high of a pass accuracy. And to give a few examples of what I mean about my player just being stupid and making bad decisions, like, I will throw the ball right off of somebody's face instead of just throwing the ball around them. And this is especially true on, like, inbound passes. Instead of just expecting my player to have common sense, I guess that's too much for me, to just throw the ball around someone, like, he'll just throw the ball right at the guy's chest right in front of me instead of throwing the ball around him or doing an overhead pass. It's just very basic things like that he will do sometimes, my player will do sometimes, but then other times his brain will just turn off and he'll do dumb shit like that. So that's what I'm referring to when I say the RNG nonsense in passing and just dumb things in general. So the last thing I want to bring up here, I have not actually tested myself, and I want to be transparent about that. I'm going off of what the people I played with are saying about rebounding and what I witnessed personally from them going through. But I want to be clear, I was playing on a point guard, so obviously I'm not going to get the full scope of what the rebounding feels like and just rebounding in general. But I think I know enough to make at least somewhat of a claim here. So what I noticed is there is a lot of RNG nonsense in the rebounding as well. And what I mean by this is sometimes my friends would just be in perfect position for a rebound and someone just absolutely out of nowhere, and this is specifically true for an offensive rebound, the guy will just swing around a box out like he's prime fucking Dennis Rodman and just go absolutely ballistic and jump up in the air like they're prime Michael Jordan jumping from the free throw line to get a rebound that they were completely out of position for. And this will happen just absolutely randomly sometimes with no warning. And you might be saying, okay, that's fair for that to happen sometimes if the people have like very high rebounding and high vertical. But we were checking people's cards after games to make sure we weren't going crazy. And almost every single time that happened, we checked the people's cards and they had lower rebounding than my center and lower vertical. It would just happen completely randomly out of nowhere. So that is more of the RNG bullshit. Now, I have very good news. We have actually made it to the end of my list. Almost 20 minutes in, we have made it to the end of my list, okay? Now, I just want to summarize everything real quick so you all understand. Basically, everything I hate about this game, besides how they try to make it realistic and how clunky it is, boils down to RNG, okay? And there is just a lack of quality testing in this game in general. And that is how all of these issues come to light that I've knocked down over the past 20 minutes. That is how all of this shit happens. Ultimately, because this company does not fucking care and they continue to make shit product every year and people keep buying it. So that's why it's this terrible. There is no quality control or quality testing whatsoever. Now, if you've made it to the end of this video, first of all, I appreciate you. You're a fucking G. But before I get to my outro, I just want to challenge anyone who makes it this far in the video to say one thing you actually like about this game. And I'm going to go first, and you can't steal mine, all right? The only thing I can actually say that I like about 2K25 is the rep rewards are actually pretty good, and I've said this before, from the unlimited Gatorade, unlimited boost, the 10 million VC, whatever. Those rewards actually aren't terrible, and I can say, wow, that's better than 2K24's rewards, and that's one thing they actually did better. So besides the rewards, I want to challenge every single one of you who made it this far into the video to comment something that you think in 2K25 is actually good. But anyway, I've been yapping for long enough. I love all of you guys, especially if you made it to the end of this video. That truly does mean a lot to me, man. Anyway, I'm trying to stay consistent out here. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. I'll catch you boys in my next one. Peace.